enough. We are live in Pensacola, Florida, where the closer oil gets to shore, the worry is the less that these beachfront area properties may be worth. Add in the loss of even more jobs here in Florida, and that's when regional and local bank CEOs start worrying about the future and start thinking about loan delinquencies. Joining me now with a reality check is Buzz Ritchie. He's president of Gulf Coast Community Bank. He's live with us here on the beach.
Thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having us. And we should say the two of us out here in the direct sun, it's about 80-something degrees, but quite humid. Just the kind of weather where you would want to jump in that water right now.
And we could.
You could do that. The beaches are open for business. But now, give me a sense of what things are like for you. You have about $265 million worth of assets in your community bank. What are you seeing so far?
Well, let's start. Virtually all of Florida has been impacted by the real estate economic downfall. Northwest Florida has been no different. We've seen property values over the last couple of years drop as much as 50%. Oddly enough, we're starting to come out of that. We could really feel coming out of that cycle, that depression in late 2009, and certainly the first 3 or 4 months of this year. Seems like we just hit another brick wall again with this oil spill. The real estate activity has stopped. Very little as transactions are closing. Very few realtors tell me they're showing properties right now. So we're coming up against something we never anticipated, especially this time of year. This is the height of our season.
Yeah, and that's something that's a little bit different about this part of the country or this part of the state than others. Snowbirds come down to Florida, they hit Miami, they hit Naples, they hit other cities. Here in Pensacola, people come here at this peak season.
Predominantly Memorial Day to Labor Day. That's our big season, a lot of real estate activity. But, you know, really, this goes well beyond just real estate. We're starting to see small businesses that are involved with retail trade. They're beginning to feel the impact already. You've been talking a lot about the fishermen, the charter boat captains, people directly affected here on the beach. But even inland, if you will, they're seeing less retail sales and activity has slowed down. I think people are just scared and they're afraid to react.
Now, this sort of circle of pain, this trickle through, and when it comes to the banks themselves, give us a sense of what safety nets are out there right now. I mean, what do we already have in place from the FDIC, from other? I mean, what have you heard from the government about what might be coming next?
Well, it's interesting because we've been through a couple of real significant hurricane phenomenons here recently. So we know about the response cycle, we know about the recovery cycle. We're in response right now. Everybody's doing what has to be done tonight, tomorrow, next week. The recovery cycle isn't talked about too much yet, but really for response, one of the things we have, Governor Charlie Crist the other day authorized a $25,000 small business bridge loan, which gives a business an opportunity to get a $25,000 loan to assist with cash flow to get through this crisis. We'll figure out what the next step is. We've been talking as recently as this morning with Senator Bill Nelson about expanding the GO Zone. That's Gulf Opportunity Zone Act that was implemented after Hurricane Katrina for parts of Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. We think there's some opportunity to bring that here to help small business, and we're going to keep looking for different things that are going to help economic development, help businesses that are here continue to stay open, but certainly we want to keep attracting new business and new jobs.
So what are you doing right now with the clients that you have? I mean, how many cancellations have you seen? How much forewarning have you gotten about people who are not going to be able to pay their bills?
And I think we're like all local banks here. We've been on the phone with our customers. We're, from the very first day, we said, what's the impact to you? Again, this is hurricane experience coming back to us. What's the impact to you? What's going to happen to your cash flow? What are your projections? What happened to your plan, or what do you think is going to happen to your plan? What can we do? We went through some forbearance issues back after the hurricanes. The bridge loan the governor authorized the other day was a big help in just the first few months of having that business. The biggest problem we have here, we don't know how severe and how long.
Well, it's interesting. In the state of Florida, there is no income tax. Those sales tax transactions are so important for those retail businesses.
Absolutely.
And then you hear from the state and local governments that they're concerned about their budgets as property values also go down. I mean, do you have back-of-the-envelope projections right now about what this is going to cost? Or
no, I looked at that report you alluded to earlier from the University of Central Florida. That's all predicated on the 23 Florida coastal counties losing 50% of their tourism employment, the 200,000 jobs, economic impact. I talked to Dr. Rick Harper here recently with the University of West Florida as recently as yesterday afternoon. They're beginning an economic impact evaluation assessment for what this is going to mean for Northwest Florida. The biggest unknown, though, is how long and how severe.